Hi, everybody. My name is Roberto Gonzalez, and today I'm going to show you a Pechakucha. Pechakucha is a Japanese word, and I'm sure that most of you know what a Pechakucha is, but for like the one or two of you who don't know what a Pechakucha is, it's a series of 20 different images where I have 20 seconds to tell you the story in each image. So I'm going to start with Steambox. Steambox is an organization that I founded in Rhode Island with a number of my students. The students are the boss at Steambox. That's the most important thing. And STEAM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Arts, and Math. Since the students are my boss, many of them are into music and they wanted to learn how to produce music. And since I graduated from Emerson and I'm a sound engineer, I decided that I can show my students how to produce music. So we started recording. But with so many students participating in Steambox, the easiest way for me to record and show them all how to record and edit was to record a conversation. So we started recording our podcasts and putting our podcasts online. We very quickly became the #1 podcast in the world, and that gives my students power. That's why my students learned how to use their power. And here you can see my students interviewing some of their favorite singers and musicians. And we've continued to do so time and time again. Our students visited Telemundo. It's a TV station, and Telemundo has a press pass. And my students realized that our local Telemundo wasn't using their press pass, so our students teamed up with them. So our students can use the press pass and go and visit the Red Sox and the Patriots and start interviewing some of the players there. Our students very quickly started visiting other local media like ABC 6 News, where they reported the weather one day and they gave the news. One of my favorite things was seeing my students spotlighted on TV. What are some of my other students' favorite passions, right? They love anime, they love music, they love video games, they love all of these things. So since Steambox works based on the students' passions, we started going out and taking our podcast with us following those passions. We went to Mystic Aquarium and we actually interviewed the penguins. The penguins didn't talk, right? Like, I hear you, I understand what you're saying right now, but we interviewed the people who handle the penguins and we actually got to interact with the penguins as well. Here's a photo of us at Rhode Island Comic-Con, where our students are a bunch of nerds and they wanted to go to Comic-Con. So we all got jobs together and went and did our podcast at Comic-Con. That's the Batmobile in the background of this photo. After Comic-Con, we went to Anime Boston. This photo here is from Penny Arcade Expo because our students are video game nerds. At the Penny Arcade Expo, every single video game developer you can think of, Nintendo, Microsoft, Sony, EA, all of those people are here under one roof. I even got to meet Powdered Toast Man and hang out with him a little bit. If you can't recognize underneath Powdered Toast Man, that's actually Xavier Woods. Xavier Woods is the tag team champion from the WWE New Day. And we get a lot of really cool guests on our podcasts. It's up to you. It's up to the Steambox students to figure out where we're going to go. On this day, they decided they wanted ice cream. So we went to the Ben & Jerry's factory in Vermont, and we did a podcast there and actually designed our own Steambox ice cream. The adventures that we have are limitless. Speaking of ice cream, meet my friend Brenda Lee. I took Brenda Lee and a number of students to the Boston Burger Company, where instead of a chef, they have actual designers, right? So these people design freak burgers and freak milkshakes. So we did a podcast, and Brenda Lee invented this milkshake that's still on their menu today with churros in it and everything. The person in the middle of this picture here, squinting, is Vita Ayala. Vita Ayala writes comic books at Marvel Comics. Our podcast got Marvel Comics in, and Vita Ayala is still representing for Steambox all the time. You'll find Vita participating almost any Steambox day, and on this day we've got Mega Ran and Samus, two worldwide famous nerdcore rappers, on the podcast with us. You can see that they are representing their Steambox pride as well. And Steambox has also taken us around the world, because this podcast has gone over to Tokyo, Japan. This picture was in Hiroshima. And here's our students holding up awards that they receive for this podcast, because people are listening to you. And when people are listening to you, you have power. So our students talked about racism in the schools. Our students talked about our local government and politics. And they go on to get really great careers. Here's my homie Mozart, who came through Steambox, was part of the group that started this podcast, and he's now working at Google. I don't know if you know of Google or heard of Google, but he's got a very fun workplace called Google. And again, just to show you, we are number one in the world. And you could see 2 weeks in a row, because it says last week we were also number one in the world. And if you want to see more of Steambox, you should really check us out at SteamboxRI on all of social media. I'm hoping you can participate with us soon.